Welcome back to Outrage Science Bites. I'm David Beckmeyer, and this is day 2 of our NaPodPoMo challenge. 30 episodes in 30 days, all focused on bridging our divides. Yesterday we started with the basics. What is bridging? Today we're talking about one of the biggest obstacles to it. Let's face it, in today's media and social media worlds, outrage pays. Being loud, extreme, even a little outrageous, that's how you get clicks, followers, and attention. But if that's the incentive structure, how do we ever expect people to build bridges instead of walls? That's the question we're exploring today from a participant at the recent in-person Bridging Movement Summit. The question is, we're incentivized to be outrageous. That's how you get influence and attention. How do we make the incentives point towards bridge building? To tackle that, we'll hear from Paul Resnick, a researcher who studies online behavior, algorithms, and how to make the digital world a little more humane. Here's Dr. Resnick. So the original question was, we are incentivized to be outrageous. That's how you get influence and attention. How do we make the incentives point towards bridge building?
Yeah. So when you say we're incentivized, it's because we get more attention. And, you know, I think the Social Media Prism book makes that case pretty nicely. It doesn't have to be that that's what would get more attention. We could have algorithms that would direct more attention to things that are stated in a way that is trying to be persuasive, as opposed to being, to outraging people, or just things that are phrased in a way that can attract people who don't usually agree with each other. And that's this, the essence of that community notes algorithm that we talked about some time ago. They're not using it to re-rank the posts that people see or the comments that people see. They're using it for this very specific thing of deciding, should this note be attached to a post where the note is trying to say there's something that's misinformation in the post and here's some extra context for people. But the same idea could be used to re-rank the posts that people see or the comments that people see. And if you do, that then creates an incentive for the producers to, if you want to get your stuff seen, you're going to write your post in a way that gets it more attention.
Well, and I wanted to add a little clarity there because my understanding is that, with these algorithms, it isn't like they're up-ranking them because they're outrageous necessarily. It's because they get attention, and the stuff that gets attention is the sort of more outrageous stuff, right? It's not like there's Mr. Burns at the top saying we need to up-rank outrageous content. It's more like these algorithms, that's the fallout from the underlying piece that's ranking them by how much attention they get, right?
Right. But there's also a sort of reinforcing effect. The things that get a little more attention at the beginning, they keep getting seen by more people and they get more and more attention. And you could do things that, if you suppose, which I think is probably true, but let's do a little thought experiment. Suppose you think that of all the posts that are not outrageous, 90% of them are boring. And 10% of them, though, somehow do capture people's imagination but of those bridging posts, unless the social media company does something to try to separate the 90% boring ones from the 10% that are engaging, then it's just going to look like, oh, those are all boring. Right? So it's the companies. It's like they don't start by saying, "I want things that are outrageous." But they learn which things are going to get attention. They're not only promoting things that have actually already gotten attention. They're promoting things that are likely to. And my hypothesis is, and we require extra work on their part, but that they could find things that people would be glad they read, but they would have to do some work. Like if they only took the things that were, if they only ranked based on what are the things that don't divide us, they would mostly get things that are boring. But there are some things that don't divide us that are interesting, and if they put the effort in, they could identify those.
That's all for today's episode of Outrage Science Bites. Stay curious, and until next time, I'm David Beckmeyer. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy these Science Bites episodes, you may enjoy the long-form Outrage Overload podcast at outrageoverload.net.